What did he knock off? The remote, of course he did. Greetings, loved ones. Sorry, our dog is being a problem.
Right, as we were trying to start the Q&A.
Yeah, and again, apologies. I will be here with my frozen paper towel because I'm a sweat monster and it's very hot in SoCal right now. So
how about the end of that episode?
Yeah. You guys remember that meme that was going around of the guy that was on the Ambien subreddit going like,
"My wife is home, my wife.
My wife is home, my wife." That was us when we recorded the end of that episode.
Yeah.
We brought Sabine back in exchange for making you guys experience Moreland Valsine being back. It was equivalent exchange.
Yeah.
It was such a nice 18 episodes without Moreland.
Yeah.
Like it was such a nice 18 episodes, and now he's back, and he will continue to be back in in season 3. He will continue to be back in a very big way.
Well, we're free of him for a few episodes.
But yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. First talking point today: NPC Battle Royale is over. Zed won.
Yeah.
Zed absolutely thrashed the captain, almost 80% to 20%, and we had the most votes in the final match that we've ever had in any of the other matches before. We had almost 30
people are passionate about Zed.
Yeah, as they should be. Yeah. The captain put up a good fight. Pour one out for him, but you just can't beat Mr. Stonebloom, it seems.
You can't beat him.
We got the first draft of the Zed-centric surprise, because we started putting in the work for that pretty early, because Zed had been kicking the captain's ass all week. So we kind of figured that we knew where it was going, and started putting in the work for the Zed-centric surprise, and we got the first draft of it today, and it's going to knock your socks off when you get to see it. It's really good. So, yeah, congratulations to Zed, the winner of our first NPC Battle Royale. Because he won, that means he won't be allowed to compete in the next one.
Oh.
But,
Gay wrongs.
Yeah. It's not gay wrongs, it's gay wrongs. He won!
Yeah, that's true. Is Zed's surprise official art?
That's separate from what the surprise is. We had already commissioned...
Zed's official character art was already in the works, was already going to come up anyway this season. But the surprise for winning the Battle Royale is something else that is not his official character portrait.
But it's good. It's really good. And then, so moving on from that, congratulations, Zed. We're moving into the episode playlist. So the playlist started with Under the Black Flag, which was an instrumental from the Assassin's Creed Black Flag soundtrack. I like to play the pirate game, and it has a good soundtrack.
I know.
And also, we just felt that an instrumental fit the big cinematic sailing into the storm thing better than anything we could find on any of the playlists. The Assassin's Creed Black Flag soundtrack is really good.
It's really good.
Then it was "Show Your Fangs" by the Crane Wives.
Yes,
and that was a Fee song.
Yeah, it was. The Crane Wives have a lot of Fee vibes. But for this episode, we put it on. Yikes. I think for this episode specifically, the reason that we wanted to put it on was with Malice, beasts will show their fangs. They're in for a surprise. Bravely, I will wield my weapon I made from fangs of those that died. I'm not your highness, a damsel left helpless by fright. I am a lioness, fierce as I walk through the night. I can't fucking talk, everyone.
Yeah, so that was kind of the Fee song, especially for the scene with the shield and the sword.
The next one was also, I think,
a Fee song. Yeah. There were 3 Fee songs on this one. Yeah, because Leo only had one song, but oh boy.
The next one was Dear Sons and Daughters of Hungry Ghosts by Wolf Parade, which is one of my favorite songs. It's very good.
But God doesn't always have the best goddamn plans, does he?
Yeah. The repeated verse of I got a hand, so I got a fist, so I got a plan. It's the best that I can do, and I will say it's in God's hands, but God doesn't always have the best goddamn plans, does he? The other reason of why we... What am I talking? The sentence that I was saying didn't go anywhere. it's a very fee song. I ain't quite the beauty. Pulls out two guns and shoots at the pretty view. Gotta keep thinking things, hunters and kings to block out the view. I gotta get new bell to ring, new song to sing, steady hand to ring, a readiness of things I do. I gotta get a new plan to bring to the people I can trick them into thinking anything.
Love to.
Lots of thoughts.
And then the next one was Fire by Paris, which is the one Leo song, and that was for the scrying scene.
Yeah. You tried out like 6 different songs on this
playlist. I had so many that I needed to save for later. It was almost like it was this close to being Cigarettes and Saints by the Wonder Years.
Yeah.
But we have an episode coming up that like I could not justify not waiting to use for that. Yeah. Especially because Cigarettes and Saints is so much a song about grieving the death of someone you loved and like being viscerally filled with rage at the system that killed them.
Yeah.
And we had a flashback scene with Leo and Adana that got cut in an earlier episode.
Yeah.
Like it was when Leo found the crystal ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when we had recorded that episode initially, we had a flashback scene with Leo and Adana where she was using her crystal ball.
Oh, no, that flashback was this episode, and then we had to cut the scene.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was this episode. Yeah, well, we recorded it all on the same day.
Well,
because this was an episode that got split. But yeah, so like part of me, because of like where I had been mentally, like when we were recording it, wanted to do Cigarettes and Saints, but then it was like, we ended up cutting that scene. It doesn't make as much sense.
Apparently our audio quality got really bad for a second while we were talking about lyrics. Sorry, guys. Sorry, everyone. It's good now, though? We're good?
Are we good? Can somebody tell us if we're good?
Sorry.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay. I'll retake it. What was the last thing you guys heard that was solid?
Okay. Yeah. We think there's like a lag in the stream from when the chat actually hears what we're saying. So it's like, okay.
Okay, we could hear it. It just sounded right. Okay, cool. But yeah, so we ended up, and then there were a couple Mountain Goat songs that I almost used that we also needed to wait on because of things that are coming in later episodes. When Lion's Tooth by the Mountain Goats is on a.
You guys can fucking talk today.
No, When Lion's Tooth by the Mountain Goats goes on an episode playlist, then you will understand. But I ended up going with Fire, which is still pretty good. It's a daddy issues song.
I mean, yeah, but you didn't have to say it.
What you give is what you get, and in your case, that's nothing but guilt and regret, and all the flames you kept in your brain came out your lips and sent you straight into your own grave. You were a walking, talking corpse at best, and I swear I couldn't wait to get you off my chest. And when you asked us why we couldn't look you in your eyes, it's hard to find life in something that's already died. Yeah, and then the chorus of "You're out of line, buried yourself alive, and expected to be fine. You can't rewind while you're choking on your own dirt, begging for your life. Your bridges are burning, and all your tables are turning. You started a fire, and you're burning up.
Yeah, get his ass.
Someday soon, there won't be anything to protect you from me."
Yes!
Leo is done. Leo is McFucking done.
And he's right.
Yeah. And then Brother by the Rural Alberta Advantage was kind of a Mutual Vow Sign song.
Yeah. It was for that scene that they had very briefly.
Yeah.
Which was the specific lyrics we were thinking of?
There's a dream I had where somebody watched out for me and you, and at the end of life, there was no one there for me and you. That's a dream I had. There was no one there. In the dark tonight, I'm coming back for you. In our lives, there was no one there for me and you. Yeah, it's just basically, the scene where Leo was like, "Hey, ma'am, stop. Do not try to break into the bathroom. I will remove you." Sorry, our cat is a fucking menace. Get out.
Stop it.
Stop.
Quit it.
But yeah, that was the,
Somebody in the chat said lots of nice, happy music in season 2.
Not at all.
So true.
The only thing you get that's happy are the sea shanties, and you can thank the captain for that.
It's not a Q&A without Pitch being a menace. Yeah. The cat has bad timing.
And she is a problem.
She was fine like most of the morning,
and now she chose violence. Yeah. Last one.
She knows.
Last one. Oceanographer's Choice by the Mountain Goats. That's a Captain Sabine song. And the reason that we chose that song is because the whole point of that song is that you can't tell if the people involved in the song are fucking or having a fist fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just fucking. But then you came in and we locked eyes. You kicked the ashtray over as we came toward each other, stubbed my cigarette out against the west wall, quickly lit another. Look at that. Would you look at that? We're throwing off sparks. What will I do when I don't have you to hold on to in the dark? And then the repeat of that last couple lines at the end is, what will I do when I don't have you, when I finally get what I deserve?
Yeah, we get to see the Captain and Sabine start unpacking their shit next week in a pretty violent way.
It's gonna be a fun episode next week.
Yeah, well, we get a lot next week. You know, we get the Captain and Sabine unpacking their shit. We get Sabine's backstory, like her backstory in detail. We get Pearlport. We get which we've been so excited for Pearlport because we put so much world building work into Pearlport, and it's such a cool setting.
Again, we were supposed to have another episode in Pearlport, but this episode ended up. The dungeon crawl ended up being 40 minutes long, so we had to split it up for episode 12, because we originally thought this week, everything up to the end of the scrying scene, I think, a little bit after, through the beginning of last week, we thought that was all going to be one episode, and then Barry started doing the editing and figured out
it wasn't going to happen.
Huh?
It just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I'm pleased with the way it came out. I thought the dungeon crawl was really fun. Mechanically, so much went against what I had planned for the dungeon crawl.
You didn't plan for bad rolls or for me being an idiot.
I did not plan for Fee to get run over by the rock. For anybody that wants to say that I was trying to punish Fee, it was actually supposed to be Leo.
Yeah.
Because Fee and the Captain both have fuck off good initiative rolls.
Well, while we were recording, you told me you didn't plan for me to actually pull the lever before we left the chamber.
Yeah, because I expected. I don't know why. I expected you to think about it more critically. Because when I had envisioned what was going to happen, it was going to be that they were going to walk back downstairs, realize that they couldn't do the spell maneuver that they did to get back out through the cave because they didn't have the spell slots. And then the Captain was going to run back up, pull the lever, and then because the Captain can move 90 feet per round, he would have beat the rock back down because he can double dash because of cunning action. But then you were just like, I wonder what this does. And I fucking pulled it, and I was like...
The problem is that you gotta strategize like you're DMing for a 5-year-old on a sugar high. How long have we been friends?
I know. But then, like, even I had a contingency plan for, like, yeah, they might just pull the lever. Like, they might just go full cronk with it. They might just pull the lever. And, like, bad shit might happen, because I have been friends with you for a very long time, and I did consider that as a possibility. But then I was kind of doing math in my head. I was like, oh, well, like, Fee gets, like, plus, 8 to initiative? Like, Fee gets plus 8 to initiative, and the Captain gets plus 10. The last one out of the room is probably going to be Leo. And if Leo's the last one out, it's probably going to be Leo that gets run over by the rock before anybody does anything. But then you just rolled ass on that initiative roll, and I was like, oh God, I'm going to kill Fee.
Again. Here's the thing. My thought was, there were so many traps on the way up. Why would the room that we had to get through like 4 traps to get to also be booby trapped?
Because Keith is an asshole.
I understand. Yeah, okay, sure, it was. But I was but I was just thinking, why would there be a trap on the inside of the room?
Well, because again, like I heard somebody make a comment about like, oh, it was an Indiana Jones moment, and I was kind of in that frame of mind of like, Indiana Jones where he does the like bait and switch with like the bag of sand and the idol, and then the big rock comes out. Like that was what I had based that off of. And like it was there as security in case somebody was able to get up that far and steal one of the items.
And was a dumb enough asshole.
Yeah. No, honestly, yeah. When Kiva built that fucking dungeon, she was like, no, she's not that dumb. She's not that stupid. Spoiler alert. Morgan Freeman narrator voice. Kiva, in fact, was wrong.
The door was poisoned. I had to feed another trap inside. It's fine.
Nobody died. Nobody died.
I'm just stupid, everyone. All right. I'm just dumb.
But that was fun for me as somebody that likes running dungeon crawls to have you make a decision that was that fucking dumb and get to play out the consequences of it.
That's why I did it, was to for you. I did it for you.
No, you fucking liar.
I did it because I'm an idiot.
Okay, moving into our questions we got from the Patreon. The dungeon crawl was fun, though. So, like, yeah, we lost an episode in Pearlport, which was really sad because we really liked that setting a lot. But the dungeon crawl was very fun.
The dungeon crawl was good.
Okay. Are human rights a concept in this, and are they referred to as something like person rights or something because there's so many non-human people? I would just say, like, personal rights, like, maybe?
I mean, the idea of people having rights is, I would think, a thing in Illyria, because, like...
Yeah. I mean, well, the Zephyr Isles especially.
I mean, yeah, like, Abbey Philosophy 2 voice, the Marxism is already inside of you.
Yeah.
Personally, the wording that comes to mind for me is sentient rights, but that might be because I spend too much time in the Star Wars fandom.
But yeah, like, I think there are people that are engaged in activism. I think that, like, folks having rights is something that is a concept being fought for. Like, that's what part of the Beacon is fighting for, at least in Australia.
Right to free information, at least.
Yeah, right to free information. Yeah. Well, yeah, the entire Beacon is kind of fighting for not necessarily free information, because one side of the schism is like, only certain people should have access to information. And but that's not the good side. Yeah. But yeah, I think so. I think there are people that are activists for, especially, in terms of the Beacon right to access to free information. We get a little bit more into activism when we get back to Vogvolder and we meet some of the characters there. I hear you meowing. Bitch. Do not try to break into the bathroom. Stop it. But I feel like it's definitely a concept, especially in the Zephyr Isles, because like the Zephyr Isles, as far as what is encoded into law there, is very much that people have a right to food, housing, medical care. Yeah. And that is all handled by the state. It's not handled perfectly because there is no inherently perfect state. Yeah. But, it is enshrined in law in the Zephyr Isles that people do have a right to free housing, medical care, things like that. Yeah. Education. And that is achieved through the existence of state service. Yeah. Yeah, because like all of the teachers come from state service, all of the doctors come from state service, things like that. So yeah, it's a concept that exists. Are Zone of Truth spells commonly used in court or law to gather evidence, or is this considered unethical or a rights violation? I would say in Australia, definitely, because there are so many clerics.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends what...
Well, because we've said Tordoon is low magic.
Yeah,
so like there's...
the area you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, there's not a lot of clerics in Tordoon, which is why Leo was kind of a hot commodity when he showed up. Yeah. So Zone of Truth is a cleric spell. I believe only clerics get it, and like maybe some like Celestial Warlock or like Divine Soul Sorcerer, like the cleric flavored.
I think it's basically just clerics.
It's basically just clerics for the most part. So like there really wouldn't be an opportunity somewhere like Tordoon, for instance, for that to be extant in courts because there aren't enough people around that can do it. Yeah. because the whole thing that got Leo like kidnapped and almost killed in the first place was that he did drop that Zone of Truth spell, and Bob and Rosebrook was like, "Oh shit,"
Yeah.
and Isaac Ashthorne was like, "Oh shit."
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in Astraria, I think definitely in terms of like legal proceedings, that it's essentially like asking somebody to submit to a polygraph test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But more accurate.
But more accurate, yeah. Zephyr Isles, I don't know. There aren't a lot of clerics in the Zephyr Isle. There are some clerics. There are some, but not a whole lot. Like, Astraria has the highest concentration of clerical magic anywhere in the world that we see.
Yeah, like, I don't think it's a part of common procedure anywhere else. I think it's something that would definitely be taken advantage of, again, like a polygraph test, if it were available. And I don't think it's a rights violation necessarily. Because, like, when you're in kind of a legal setting, it is presumed that you're going to tell the truth.
Yeah, you have to swear that you're going to. You know, like in modern courts, you have to swear that you're going to tell the truth. So asking, like having someone make that vow that is then backed up by a Zone of Truth spell makes sense, I think, ethically and legally. Yeah, but I don't think it's enshrined in legal processes anywhere except Astraria. I think if you go to court in Astraria, yeah, if you take the witness stand, I think you sit for a Zone of Truth spell.
Yep.
Yeah. Are any characters unaffected by Zone of Truth? Like, just as a rule, I don't think
by default.
So by default, no.
I don't think so.
Like, there are certain mechanical things you can do in D&D that make you immune to things like Zone of Truth, but just like as a default, is anybody just intrinsically as part of how they're built, basically immune to Zone of Truth? No.
Not that we've met, I don't think.
Well, and Zone of Truth is a roll to save spell. Like, you can voluntarily fail your save for it, which we see, moving forward, but it is a roll to save. Like, you can fight back against it.
I mean, if you have a high enough whiz modifier, I would think you'd be immune to it. But... Well,
depending on the save DC of the person you're rolling against. Like, the person who's casting it, it depends on what their save DC is. Yeah. So, if Laeral Valsign casts a Zone of Truth on you at where he is, I think where we're recording right now, if you can roll a DC 16 whiz save, then it won't affect you. Yeah. But no, as far as, like, inherent immunity to things like Zone of Truth, no, I don't think that we've written anybody that would be inherently immune to something like that. They could fight back against it. They could roll to save against it, but no inherent immunity.
My glasses are so fucked.
Is Defiance going to be killed?
God, I hope so.
It's going to depend on how well we roll.
God, I hope so. I love to see a girl boss die. That's something that a mutual friend of ours has been saying since Defiance's introduction, is just love to see a girl boss die. And it's on my mind 24/7 now.
Yeah, is Defiance going to die? That's up to the dice.
Yeah. God, I hope so.
If Astrarian blood is bioluminescent, does that mean when they blush, it glows a little bit? Yes. Yep. Well, I actually had a line about that in, I think it was episode, what was it? Season 1, episode, 10 or something? Like, when it was when they had done the fucking thing where, like, Eleonora was trying to talk to her dad and made it sound like she and Leo had gone out and got no hotel room. And I did have a line where I was like, oh yeah, Leo is bright blue, glowing like a lighthouse. Yeah.
So we did establish that in canon. I'm glad I've cursed all of you with I love to see a girl boss die.
Okay, we're gonna save this one for last because that's gonna be that's kind of a deep dive. Yeah. How did Sabine get to the Zephyr Isles with everything going on with the blockade?
Yeah, okay, so, Sabine was not involved with her, is the short answer. Sabine was not behind the blockade, so she didn't need to get through it, which, as we've said, the blockade is kind of a big obstacle, and Sabine's good, but she's not that good.
Well, yeah, because that's like Leo and Fee's whole problem is that like they can't get through it to get back to Bogvolder. So
Thank you,
do not.
Why are you yelling?
Come here, baby. I'm going to remove her.
Yeah, get her.
Get out. Stop.
Roll out. I don't think. Do we unpack this fully? We make allusions to it like later in the season, but Sabine was actually staying in
the tower.
Yeah, in the tower where Ravane grew up. So she wasn't behind the Ashurian blockade. She was in
Dowrier, technically.
Yeah, technically in Dowrier. She was on the border of Torvin and Dowrier, up in the mountains.
Yeah, and then she got that message. Well, she probably went out through Dowrier because Tordoon had shut down all their borders by the time that Fee was able to send that message, so she probably just went out through Dowrier. Yeah. So, yeah, she wasn't in Bogvolder when the blockade happened, essentially.
The chat is telling us to at the cat. Bidgie.
She's not back in there, is she? Get
Your door in public says
Get out.
But yeah, somebody said, "Wait, does that mean Lorelai's still in the tower?" You'll have to wait.
Yeah.
Oh goodness! Doesn't seem like what Sabine would do in the situation is leave her in the tower.
What exactly did Moreland send Defiance to Pearlport to do? Because that makes sense. Yeah. Just for clarification's sake, because we didn't catch the front half of their conversation, we caught the very back part of it. In the scrying scene.
And with the specific brand of shitbaggery Moreland Valentine was employing, things got confusing in that conversation. From our lens. So Moreland sent Defiance to Pearlport specifically to get Fee back to Asturia by any means necessary.
But preferably willingly.
Willingly. And to
kill Leo if she had to.
Yeah, like Leo if she had to. It was take him as a prisoner.
Yeah. It was more along the lines of like get Fee, like her orders specifically are get Fee back to Asturia. Do your best to make her come willingly because he still needs her to be a piece in his game.
Yeah, like effectively she's all he has right now.
Yeah.
So
in terms of ensuring the line of succession, she's all he has. And then as far as Leo went, he didn't really care. It was take him if you can, if you have to, kill him. Because at that point, like, Leo had established himself as enough of a threat and also somebody that is under no circumstances going to fall in line.
Yeah.
Like, Moreland still thinks he has a shot at getting Fee to fall in line.
Yes.
He's
wrong.
Yeah, he knows that Leo is... that's just not going to be something that happens with Leo. Yeah. So the sentiment towards Leo was, like, take him prisoner if you can, but if he's putting up too much of a fight, just kill him, because he doesn't need Leo alive.
Sorry, somebody in the chat just... You're so right. Somebody in the chat said, just go use one more woman and toss her aside after. What's the big deal, Moreland? You're so right.
You have no idea how right you are.
Oh, God.
You have no idea how right you are. Talk to us at the end of season 3.
God is ass. Oh, my
God. What would have happened if Fee had picked the sword?
Yeah, I would love to know that as well. Here's the fucking thing.
You rolled ass on that Arcana check, man. I can't help you.
Here's the fucking thing. No, he's being very smug right now. Here's the fucking thing. I knew I was getting a magic item in this dungeon crawl because we had planned it out for a while. I thought I was just going to pick up an item. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm prepared for this. I'll just go get the thing. And then he sprung a choice between 2 items on me, and I had to roll fucking Arcana check.
And they rolled ass on that Arcana check, and there wasn't anything I could do to help.
And he has not told me still what the other fucking item does. He has not told me what the sword does.
Okay.
It makes me so mad.
Well, yeah, and again, like, if they had rolled better on that Arcana check to figure out what everything does, I would have been able to give them more information. But I was DMing, and, like, just from a DM perspective, I had a DC set for like how much Fee would be able to figure out depending on what she rolled.
Oh no, I get that. I get that in the text of the episode. He hasn't pulled me out of recording. That's what I'm mad about. It's been weeks.
Okay, so the shield, as we established in the episode, is a spellcasting focus because Fee put her orb into it, so she can use it as a spellcasting focus. I said in the episode that it basically gave her a free Warcaster feat, which is actually not accurate because there are other things involved in the Warcaster feat, like you get advantage on like saving throws for like concentration and stuff like that, and you can cast a spell as an opportunity attack, which like Fee does not get any of that. Leo has the Warcaster feat, however, so Leo gets that. But yeah, the sword and the shield is very much focused. Like it's a +3 shield, or it's +1 shield rather. So she gets +3 to her AC.
Yeah, which is good because Fee's AC was 13,
and now it's 16. Yeah. So she gets +3 to her AC when she has it equipped, and also she gets that protection fighting style. So if she's up within 5 feet of somebody, she can impose disadvantage on attacks as a reaction. So it's a very good defensive item. Like it ups her AC, it helps her defend other people. Like it's very good defensively. Mechanically, what the sword would have done if Fee had picked it is it also would have been a spellcasting focus because the orb would have gone in the pommel of it. And it was a +1 longsword as well. So it would have, done an extra +1 to attack rolls and damage. And also, if you were the mechanical stuff for it was if you were, when you cast a spell with it, in range to make a melee attack, then as a like free action, not like a bonus action or a reaction or anything, just as a free action, if you cast a spell with it and you are within melee range of another creature, you would have gotten a free longsword attack.
I stand by picking the shield. I stand by it.
Yeah. So, the way I summed it up of, the shield will help your defensive abilities for you and for others, and then the sword will augment your damage capability. With a with a 10 Arcana check, I stand by like what I said and what I was able to give you. Because if you had rolled like a nat 20 on that, I would have just given you the stat blocks of both items and just let you pick. But
somebody said Fee swinging around a sword would have been extremely cool, though. But I think the shield somehow fits her personality. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I liked the aesthetic of the sword, but with the options presented to me as they were, it felt truer to Fee's character arc for her to pick the shield. So. And
we do get to see her do some really cool stuff with the shield when she and Leo are doing like battle combos later in the season. It's pretty neat, yeah. With Leo and other people. We get to see it in Pearlport arc too. So, okay. So now we're into our last patron question. And we're gonna riff on this for a bit, so feel free while we're going off on this to just put open question time, open questions in the chat. How does Moreland view his actions? Is he aware that what he's doing is fucked up and just does it anyway, or is he the type of villain that thinks he's a protagonist? He comes off like he knows what he's doing is wrong, but I'm curious. This is incredibly complicated.
Yes.
Moreland views himself as a martyr, I think. Yeah. Because something I think that is eerily and unsettlingly similar about Moreland and Leo is that they are both people that have very strict views of morality. Yeah. They have these very entrenched views of morality. They have their line in the sand, which is something that we have talked about. And they are both people who have had to scuff out that line in the sand. But the difference is that when Leo did it, it was something that was actually for the greater good, whereas when Moreland did it and completely threw all of his morals out the fucking window, it wasn't justified. And it didn't actually help anyone. And it only served to further his own power. But in his own head, he is someone who has made this decision of someone has to do this horrible thing for the greater good.
Yeah.
And it will be me. Yeah.
I was about to say, it comes off like he knows what he's doing is wrong because he knows that other people would think what he's doing is wrong. So he has made the decision of, oh, I'm going to hide what I'm doing, not because I think it's a bad decision, but because I know other people will view it negatively,
but
and
in
they
his
won't
head,
understand that I'm doing this for the greater
good. In his head,
yeah.
everything is the greater good. Like from
somebody in the chat said Moreland Valentine is his own poor little meow meow.
You're not wrong is the thing, though. You're not wrong is the thing, though.
Oh,
and we're gonna get to explore this way deeper, because we are doing a 2-part Patreon exclusive episode where we're doing a big historical like lore dump and like a 2-shot, I guess, on the Battle of Omegroth, where I'll be playing Morlin and Al is going to be playing Valor and Valsign.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to dig like way, way deep into Morlin's head and like why he makes the decicisions that he makes.
And
and
that's
like,
coming out in a couple months.
Yeah.
We have a lot of Patreon bonus episodes lined up. If you're on the Patreon, $5 tier, Lorelai Courage Take Retirement is coming out this week. Anyway,
yeah, so like we're gonna get, at least for the Patreon listeners, we're gonna be getting like really deep into.
Oh, somebody said, isn't that the brother?
Yeah, that's his brother.
To Valorant. Yeah,
that he killed.
The brother that he killed.
That's the brother that he killed. Yeah.
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 And the 2-shot is going to be the months leading up, the months or the weeks. I think
the months.
The months leading up to the event where Moreland said, "Well,
time to kill my brother, I guess."
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's that's the plan, everybody.
Yeah, and we're gonna be doing a lot of exposition, like in that 2-parter episode about why he now frames himself as as kind of a murderer, and like why he now frames himself as somebody who like has to make these like gut-wrenchingly bad decisions for the greater good, when like really no, he is just doing it for his own power and his own ability to control the situation. But
also it goes back to the fact that he's not really capable of viewing other people's feelings and experiences as important as his own.
Yeah,
so
which was true to an extent before the events that we're going to be doing in that 2-parter, but like definitely became true after. Like any part of that man that was capable of honestly caring about another person as another person, separate of his concept of them, died with his brother. It died. Yeah. So yeah, he very much does view himself as I think he views himself as an anti-hero, actually.
I think if we're looking for villains that know what they're doing is wrong and are doing it anyway, we're looking at Defiance. Honestly, like I would say of our 3 main villains, I would say Moreland thinks what he's doing is right.
But knows that it's morally suspect,
But knows that other people would think that it's morally wrong. Alasha thinks that what she's doing is justified, but doesn't care if it's right or wrong. She thinks it is justified and she can justify it to herself.
She doesn't have Alasha doesn't have a lot of feelings about right or wrong. I think she views right or wrong as very subjective things. Yeah.
And Defiance knows that what she's doing is wrong. She is very clear on that. She is doing it anyway because she wants power.
And doesn't care. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, which is cool. I like that that's our villain trio, is like somebody that thinks they're doing the right thing with the wrong methods, someone that thinks that what they're doing is justified and thinks that right or wrong are stupid concepts anyway, and then somebody that knows that what they're doing is wrong and doesn't give a shit.
Yep.
Like, I think that's a cool, like, villain trio structure.
Yeah. I'm enjoying it. We're having fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as Moreland, he definitely thinks that what he is doing is right.
Lawful, neutral, chaotic evil.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, and having Moreland as like the lawful evil end of that trio, like having him be lawful evil, Alasha is neutral evil, Defiance is kind of chaotic evil. Yeah, now that I think about it,
Defiance kind of straddles the line between neutral and chaotic evil in like actual alignment. But she's more chaotic than the other two, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of feelings about our villains, and I'm really excited for the Battle of Omegroth 2-shot for a lot of reasons. Number one, because it is really going to be because I'm going to be, like, we're going to be seeing it through a narrative lens because I am actually going to be playing Moreland. So we're going to be getting into his psychology really deeply because I'm going to be in the player's chair for that. Also, Valor and Valsign was such a cool fucking dude.
Yeah, we developed him a little bit before we planned this bonus, or before we started planning out this 2-shot bonus episode. But like, the more we develop him, the cooler he is. It makes me so sad.
Yeah, like, you deserved better, King.
You deserved better.
Like, he was so cool.
Somebody in the chat said, Moreland just thinks everything will be okay if I have power, in very crude terms, basically.
Yeah, basically.
More or less, yeah. I don't even think necessarily he wanted power to start with, though.
No.
I think he wanted to accomplish a specific goal, and getting power is the way that he accomplishes the thing that he thinks is right.
And a lot of it is tied, you know, in that sense of, like, his motivations and things that he wants and things that he needs to achieve. A lot of it is tied to having been a child soldier who does have PTSD and, like, how he related the idea of... Yeah.
Which is also a lot of Elisha's motivation.
Yeah, and how he, like, related to the idea of this war ending with Vogtvolder winning after he had been on the fucking battlefield since he was the equivalent of, like, 15 and watched a bunch of his friends, including Elisha, get blown up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, the whole thing is that he's not even necessarily wrong in a certain view with his end goal, because Vogtvolder did an imperialism.
Yeah, and that's not what he wants to do with Astraria. Like, he does not have any imperialistic goals with Astraria. He wants to keep things the way that they are there, which is
and
bad.
Get revenge for the bad thing that happened.
Yeah, but the thing is that the way things are in Astraria is also bad. Yeah, so... yeah, we do a lot of unpacking of, like, generational trauma in the Valsign family throughout the show. Like, we unpack...
That's all the show is. It's just us unpacking generational trauma
in our
characters.
Yeah, we unpack generational trauma in the Valsign family going back 10,000 years by the end of it, so...
fun, everything's fun.
But yeah, so, yeah, the Battle of Omegroth 2-parter is going to be really cool, you know, especially because we're going to get...
Putting that out. I'm going to open my spreadsheet and keep talking.
Yeah, especially because, like, again, we're going to get, like, really deep psychological insight to, like, Moreland's Joker arc. And...
I'm the Joker.
So, hold on, let me see if I can do the voice. Hold on.
Oh, God.
We live in a society.
God.
But yeah, we get, like, really deep psychological insight into that. We get Valoran, who's, like, fucking awesome. We get a couple of their other siblings. The only sibling we never really meet on camera is Jorana, who is the eldest daughter.
Battle of Omegroth 2-parter is coming out in March of 2022. Well, March and April. So, somebody said, is the bonus episodes basically what we're getting instead of that prequel series you guys used to mention you almost did? Yeah, we
figured we could kind of do it in 2 episodes.
Yeah, everything that we we figured out that everything that we wanted to unpack that wasn't necessary to the plot to have on screen was something we could handle in, like, 2 episodes.
Yeah, and it's also the Battle of Omegroth 2-parter is going to be a practice run for us for campaign 2.
Yes.
Because the Battle of Omegroth 2-parter... Yeah, the Battle of Omegroth 2-parter is going to heavily rely on flashbulb memories. Yeah. Like, we'll have, like, Valorant or somebody show up, like, in line in the narrative lens, and then it's like, boom, flashbulb memory. Like, and now you guys are 5 years old again.
Yeah.
Like,
but yeah, so that's a test run for our narrative lens for our next campaign.
Yeah. And also we're going to get, like, not cameos, because they're going to be very important. Like, we're going to get a lot of Adana in the 2-parter.
And we're very excited for that.
Yeah, because we've done a lot of, like, workshopping. Yeah, we're doing a lot of workshopping on, like, how Adana's magic worked and stuff, and it's really cool. People tend to write off divination wizards as boring, and I say that that's bullshit, and then we made it...
I think that's wrong.
And I think that's wrong, and then we made it on a Valsign to show you how it's wrong. Yeah, we're going to get a lot of Adana. We're going to get a lot of Elisha. Yeah. We're going to be getting a couple more of Moreland and Valoran's siblings.
We're going to be getting Fee and Leo's Aunt Nora, mostly.
Fee and Leo's Aunt Nora. We're going to be getting Eamon and Nasalia Petrus, Kalessa's parents. We're going to be getting, like, maybe a couple lines, like one scene with Soren's parents. Or Soren's dad, because at the time that was recorded, Soren's mom would have been pregnant with Soren and probably wouldn't have been there.
Yeah. But yeah, very big plans for that. Very big plans for all of our bonus episodes. Everybody should subscribe to the Patreon at the $5 level.
We are really, really excited about the Battle of Omegroth 2-parter. Yeah. It's going to be really fucking cool. But yeah, Lorelai and Courage Take Him Tarm is another one that's coming out for the $5 patron tier. That's coming out this week, and it's really good.
In the next couple days.
Yeah, like we just finished editing it, and we're getting ready to work on the transcript. And as soon as the transcript is done, we're putting it out. It was really fun.
We have a lot of things planned as far as bonus episodes.
Yeah,
we're having a lot of fun. Big plans. Very exciting. It is open question time, by the way. Anybody has questions, drop them in the chat.
Yeah, because, I know we riffed on that for a bit. But yeah, like, the psychology of our villains is something that's really important to me. Because I just think that if we... Like, yeah, Moreland Valsine's a shitty fucking person, but I think if we had made him, like, one note and one-dimensional and just, like, his only bad thing is that he's an evil king and that he's also really transphobic toward his kids, like, it just would have been boring. Like, yeah. Well, and, like, the whole thing, we had a mutual friend the other day bring up, like, did this dude invent transphobia? Because he's the only fucking person in the series that we have seen be transphobic to anyone. And, like, on an institutional level, it seems to be okay, because you could just go into any apothecary and get fantasy HRT. And, yeah, I was again, this is one of those moments where we kind of cringe and go, yeah, Moreland's based on real people. And it's that the reason he's weird about it, especially on such a structural way where it's not just repeating shitty societal standards, because it's not a societal standard.
Well, and part of the reason that it's not a societal standard, or at least it's not something that we've seen often, is because we didn't want to do that.
We didn't want to do that, yeah. And the reason that he's shitty about it, I think, really does boil down to, again, he now, like, where he is in his life and where he was in his life when his kids were born, is incapable of conceptualizing other people outside of his concept of them. Yeah. And is incapable of conceptualizing his children having a life and having an identity outside of what he has in mind for them. Yeah. And the fact that they both are doing that enrages him deeply. Yeah.
He sucks.
So it's less an I institutionally hate trans people thing. It's more of an I hate the fact that my kids are doing this and forging their own identities outside of what I want them to have.
He sucks.
Yeah, he sucks.
But also, like, we definitely wanted to make him three-dimensional. We said this in previous Q&As. We definitely wanted to make him three-dimensional because, like, writing a story about inherited trauma with a one-note parent is kind of a disservice to the viewpoint characters, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like,
and that's something that we have
in campaign 2. Yeah,
campaign 2,
yeah,
everything.
Yeah. There's a lot that we do about, like, generational trauma and, like, the cycle of abuse and stuff, and it's very important to us in those instances to outline even our villains as people who have been victims of abuse, and then, like, our protagonists are people that are, like, that is Fee and Leo's whole fucking narrative arc. Fee and Leo's whole narrative arc is breaking the cycle.
Yeah.
Like,
and we love that for them.
Yeah, which, again, like, we find out later, like, just how deeply and how far back the generational trauma goes in the Valsine family, and the fact that Fee and Leo...
about that when we get to it.
Yeah, but the fact that Fee and Leo were the first people to go, no, is, yeah...
Somebody asked, was some of Defiance's attitude when talking with him due to his blatant transphobia? I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think Defiance cares that much about respecting other people.
Yeah.
I don't think Defiance cares enough about respecting other people to be blatantly annoyed during a conversation with someone who is her only vehicle to power. Being
shitty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she knows that she's being shitty. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think the reason she was miffed was because her superior was sending her somewhere that she found overly complicated and dangerous, and was sending her into a situation that she didn't know exactly how to navigate.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I think Defiance's annoyance in that episode was defiance based, not because Moreland was being an asshole.
I mean, you can even argue that she was being, like, kind of shitty to the captain in her introduction, where she was like, ladies and, I'm reticent to say gentlemen, like, yeah.
You could make that argument.
Like, that wasn't how I was playing it.
Yeah.
I was playing it on she was just being a bitch to the captain, but yeah.
But you could make that argument if you wanted to, so. Somebody said if she cared about respecting other people, she wouldn't be where she is.
Exactly. Yeah, no, Defiance is solely focused. Like, that is her whole villain thing. And again, like, that's going to be something that we unpack, like, way later in her arc. Like, her whole thing is that she no longer... Moreland's whole thing is that he no longer is capable of caring about people outside of himself. Defiance's whole thing is that she is no longer capable of trusting people outside of herself, and cannot. She doesn't want
narrative foils.
Yeah, and they were narrative voice. Yeah, she's no longer capable of trusting people outside outside of herself. She's no longer capable of feeling the desire to protect people outside of herself. She is in this very, like, isolated place of, I am going to take care of me and secure power for myself, because that is the only thing that any of us are capable of doing. Yeah.
Shit's fucked.
Yeah. Our villain trio is supremely fucked, but they are very interesting. It's very interesting to kind of explore things from their point of view, but that's coming from somebody that really likes writing villains.
Yeah.
And, like, not excusing any of the awful shit that they do. Like, Moreland, Alasha, and Defiance, all three are deeply awful people.
They've all done bad shit.
Yeah.
And will continue to do
bad shit. Yeah, but their psychologies are very interesting. Yeah.
Just the chat, oh my god, they were narrative foils.
Oh yeah, we have very intentionally set up Defiance as a narrative foil for Fee. And, like, in a way, like, I know I've made a lot of jokes about, like, Leo being his own narrative foil, but really it's Moreland. Like they are so similar personality-wise, and, like, something that I think is going to become very apparent, especially later, is that if Leo didn't have a support network, and if Leo didn't have people that loved him enough to pull him back from that tendency for being so hard-lined about his lines in the sand, and, like, about explaining his decisions to blur that line out occasionally. Like, Leo very easily could have ended up being exactly like his father. And I think that's something that's really uncomfortable to discuss because of what a source of trauma his father is to him.
Yeah.
But personality-wise and psychology-wise, Leo and Moreland are extremely similar. Yeah. And again, that's something that we are going to be addressing and kind of unpacking later on, is that, like...
Now we just need a narrative foil for Alasha.
Alasha's narrative foil is Adana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
But then she fucking died.
I don't know about that. My first instinct was I was going to say Alasha's narrative foil is Kalesa.
Yeah, maybe. It's just that we never see Alasha and Kalesa really interacting.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, we're going to get more of Alasha and Adana interacting. And
in the bonus episode, yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that Alasha made the decision to help kill her narrative foil is something that speaks to her character. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. It's bad. Oh, jeez. But yeah, open questions, everybody. We have 6 more minutes. I can't do math.
Yeah, but I would say Alasha's narrative foil is either Adana or Kalesa. Like, yeah, somebody that... Yeah, I think Kalesa... I like what you're saying with Kalesa, like, in terms of, like, story building. It's just that they don't interact with each other that much, so you don't get a good narrative foil there. But I think of, in terms of, like, people that don't necessarily care about what good or bad is, and, like, have this view that, like, good and evil are very subjective things. But Alasha, who uses that for her own self-furtherment, versus Kalesa, who uses that kind of worldview to help the people she loves. Yeah.
I mean, second choice would be Sabine, but I don't think their narrative journeys are that similar.
No.
So.
No, yeah, well, because Sabine, and as we're going to find out next week, Sabine is someone who very much never wanted to be in the situation that she's in.
Yeah.
And I think, in a way, kind of still doesn't.
Yeah.
But feels that she has a moral obligation to it.
Yeah.
Like, Sabine never asked to be where she is, but now that she's there, she feels like she has a moral obligation to stick it out, which is not similar to Alasha.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat said, "Hey, Al, Barry, how's Sid doing right now?" Doing fine.
Yeah.
He's kid poping it up on Books of Colin. Sid's doing Sid stuff. Somebody asked, "Hey, when do the stars become important?"
Season 3.
Season 3.
Season 3 in a big way.
Not a question, but I love how Sabine just couldn't wait for them to dock.
She got in a rowboat. She saw them because
yeah.
Sabine knows what the ship looks like because she lived there for 10 years. Yeah, she saw them coming and just went out in a rowboat and then took a couple knives. The metal thunks were her climbing up the side of the ship with knives.
Yeah. And I love that about her. Oh, jeez. Sabine said, "Fuck patience."
Hello, sweetie.
Hello, sweetie. I love Sabine so much.
And, like,
I love Sabine so much.
Something I am so much looking forward to with all of you guys experiencing this with us in the next few weeks is, like, Leo and Sabine become really good friends.
God. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens, but yeah. Motivated by pure spite. Oh, exactly. Oh, yeah. Sabine and the captain have passively and sometimes actively been trying to kill each other for the past 15 years.
Jeez.
Leo and Sabine friendship. I need to see that. Hope you will, and it's great.
Do we get to see how Fee deals with Alasha's actions? Like, I can figure she's not going to deal well, but do we get to see that?
Yes.
Yes, in a big way.
In season 3.
Season 3.
Yeah.
Genuinely so excited for Leo Sabine friendship. It's really...
They're both fucking dramatic. they're just so dramatic. Yeah. They get along great.
Trans theater kid solidarity.
Trans theater kid solidarity. So true.
Oh, goodness. But yeah, Fee dealing with Alasha's actions is a plot point for later.
Yeah, but it will happen, and it's
gonna be
rough. It's gonna be rough. Yeah. There are good characters in season 3. There are good adult characters in season 3. There are good people from Morlun and Alasha's generation that we get to see being good people in season 3. We promise. Just hold out for Nora Valsine, everybody. She's awesome.
I've only been able to catch a few of these. I assume they mean the Q&As. So I don't know if you've answered this before, but have you ever talked about what other systems you might use in other campaigns?
Our second campaign is Monster of the Week.
Yeah, our second campaign is Monster of the Week for sure. We've talked about doing like a third or fourth campaign with the Witcher RPG because The Witcher is one of Barry's special interests, and we have the RPG book for it.
And you like The Witcher too.
Yeah, but we bought the RPG book because it's your thing.
Yeah.
But the problem with that one is that
it's so technical. It's even more technical than 5e. So like what we would have to do with it is we would have to like heavily pare it down.
Yeah.
Because the Witcher RPG source book has shit like, oh, your armor takes a certain amount of damage every time you get into a fight, and you have to get and you have to like go to a blacksmith and get it fixed, and like that's not good podcasting.
Yeah. But but our second campaign for sure is going to be Monster of the Week. Like we have it planned out. We have several of the roles of our main characters assigned.
Yeah, I would sooner reskin the Witcher universe with like 5e or like Pathfinder or something similar than use the actual like Witcher TTRPG because it is so like nitty gritty on like the armor degradation, and it's not my preferred way way to play TTRPGs.
Like, there's already rules that we ignore in 5e. Like,
yeah, like, and I love the Witcher universe, and I feel like we could come up with, again, with the co-GM'd format, especially because of the narrative way that, like, the Netflix series of The Witcher has been doing things. Like, I feel like we could come up with something really fucking cool with it, but just not with the TTRPG system for it that exists. No, yeah, we'll have to reskin it. Like, I would like to reskin it with something and do a Witcher campaign, but
Pathfinder 2nd Edition's a thought. It's a thought that we've had. But that would be for, like, a 3rd campaign at least, which is way
like, we haven't even thought about yet. We're still in the planning process for campaign 2.
Yeah. But that one will be Monster of the Week, and we're going to have fun with it. Last call for questions. We'll give you all a minute since we riffed on that for several. But, yeah.
Especially because the most popular kind of, like, Witcher... We pitched a Witcher AU of the characters that we're using for campaign 2.
So, we would need to plan something
We would need to plan something else, yeah. Or, since what our shtick is quickly becoming with Campaign 1 and Campaign 2 is trans siblings overthrow the government.
Yeah.
We could probably still stick with the same storyline that we did. We would just have to make new characters.
Somebody said, what do you think was the smartest thing you came up with in Comp Duel? Like something you'd pat yourself on the back for?
Sephiroth. Like the whole
as far
setting.
As smart things, I was very proud of the Bobbin heel turn.
Yeah.
I thought that was very smartly set up of me.
Yeah, and I didn't see it coming. Yeah. They got me. Yeah. But as far as, like, things that we built, I would say the entire setting of the Zephyr Isles. Like, I would run a campaign in the Zephyr Isles. Yeah. It would be awesome.
And there's some stuff that we set up, I think, very smartly, but we can't tell you about it until season 3. So...
Yeah, a lot of the cosmology stuff that we've set up, we are really proud of, but we can't tell you about because it will bust the whole podcast wide open. But
so it said, does it hurt carrying the World of D&D podcast on your backs? Thank you.
I don't put us on the pedestal,
yeah,
please.
Don't do that, but also, thank you. And then somebody said, have you looked at any systems made for solo or GM-less games? I have a few that I could look at. I think going GM-less is kind of
impossible.
It's less fun with our format. Like, the conceit of our format is that there is somebody running the game, but they're also running the player that is opposite you. So...
Yeah, and the whole thing about that has been something that I've very much enjoyed, like, as we're going through this, and and how we continue to surprise each other, like, even as we get deeper into the nitty-gritty of things, like, we still keep finding ways to surprise each other and keep finding ways to kind of flip the script whenever we get to big moments, because that's especially in the next couple of weeks is going to be a thing that you see happen, is, like, things that Al and I have not talked to each other about that we pull out at the last possible moment when we're in the DM's chair. And so, like, that's not something I want to lose, because that's been something that's really fun for me, is like, we are very deeply and collaboratively building this story together. Yeah. But also...
And with that, we'll see you guys next week. Episode 14. Episode 14 of season 2 comes out this Friday or Thursday if you're a patron.
It's going to be a good one.
Have fun with that. Sorry, final question at the end. Does Mia know? Like, no?
Yes. Intimately.
Yep.
Intimately, Mia knows.
Mia knows stuff. Anyway.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.